It is finals. Magnus Carlsen versus Fabiano Caruana for the first place, and Vincent Keymer versus Nodirbek Abdusattorov for the third place. The starting position is here. Wild stuff. Bishops on a8, h8. Quite funny. Knight on f8, c8, and rooks on d8 and g8. The only asymmetry, let's say. Because knight 8, knight f8, bishop 8, bishop h8. So yeah, let's see what happens. So the game starts with c4, like normal opening, and as you can see, immediately potentially attacking h7 pawn. So b5 is played. What a wild move! Like c4, okay, who cares? I play b5, my queen protects the pawn, so it's all good. But c5, g6, b4, and e5. So the idea, I think, here is quite simple: knight d6 and then short castle, and then knight d7, something like d6 or d5, and it should be more or less fine. So let's see what players did. d4, so take d4, and now e3. So the point here is if takes, knight f3, and I guess he didn't like that knight potentially comes to d5. Otherwise, I cannot really explain what's the plan here for black. Like knight d6, queen f6. Yes, I kind of see why you don't want to take. And yeah, sometimes these gambits might work not in your favor. So d6, e takes d4, d takes d5, d takes d5, now takes, bishop takes, and now knight d7. And as you might see, this king already lost the right to castle, while our king can still potentially castle. So we have knight d5, takes, more trades happen on the board, queen f5, queen b7, knight f4, takes, now g3. It's easy to miss that this bishop on h1 is suddenly activated, queen a6, still everything is protected. So king goes to d2 and finally castle on the board. And you might already sense that what is this king doing on d2, rook f2 is coming, rook d8, queen f3, so many ideas for black pieces. So takes, rook h2, and position suddenly became lost. King c8, king d7, and king d2 is coming, and there is no other things that Vincent could do. King goes to d8, rook f1, queen g5 check, and basically here I think he resigned because king d4 is just terrible move. But yeah, basically rook f4 comes with e5, and you take on f4. And let's say if king goes to f3, there is bishop d5 checkmate. If king goes to d3, bishop c4, and let's say king d4, there is rook d2. I would play rook d2, the simplest, but apparently there's simple e5, this, and rook e2, checkmate. So yes, and that was the only win in this match, the only decisive result in 4 games. So Nodirbek Abdusattorov takes the 3rd place. While in the finals, we got a dream matchup. That is just the best of the best of the best. Fabiano Caruana versus Magnus Carlsen. And we see a different setup. So knight h8, knight g8, bishop e8, bishop d8, rook 8, rook f8, king c8, queen b8. That is just, unbelievable stuff. So let's see what happens in the game. By the way, in this match, like in the match between Vincent and Nodirbek, there was only one decisive result. So let's see what happened. f5, f4. Let's watch from the Fabi side. c6. So this one is very complicated. Like bishop comes to c7 potentially. I don't know. Freestyle chess is just tough. Like, what's the plan here? e6, knight f6, maybe d5 at some point, maybe a5. Like, what are you gonna do? e3, e6, knight f3, knight f6. Oh, same thing. Now bishop h5. So developing the bishop, d4, knight f7, h3, and now a5. So a bit tough to tell what's happening, but I like white's position more just because, again, like in the normal chess, you take the middle of the board, you take the center, and you're better. So g4 takes, knight g4 takes, bishop g4, and queen h7. So it's also very important to watch out for all these ideas, because queen on b1 is not very active here, but potentially pointing towards h7 pawn, and now g4 takes, and you retake bishop f6. So Fabi is slightly better. C takes d5, c takes d5, and knight h4. So a better move would have been knight d5, but knight h4 is fine as well. Bishop d1, king d1, and once again, he decided not to castle. And yeah, I mean, I kind of see why he wouldn't castle, just because, I mean, like what? Like nothing will happen basically. Like you can keep the king in the middle of the board and still would be okay. But now bishop h4 was a huge mistake, because now rook c1 check, king d7, queen b5 check, and now bishop h4. And Fabi is +5. +5. I mean, that is just unbelievable. So rook c8 is played, king d2, queen a7, f5. So the idea is, of course, to go bishop g3, you know, pointing towards f-file, queen a6, queen b3, rook c4. You know, you look at this position, you can't really say why it is +5. Like, what is so bad about Magnus' position? King a6 and rook c4. So, first of all, the best would have been to play rook c4 here. And now queen c4, attacking the queen and attacking the rook. There is bishop g3. And now let's say if king d7 or king d7, queen b7 comes to check. If king c6, rook c1. So I assume e5 is the best. Now takes, queen b6. And it's tough to see why, let's say, Fabi wouldn't go for this position. Like, you take on g7 at the very least. And, you know, with f-pawn coming up, I mean, you don't really risk to lose a game. While what happened in the game was f takes a6, king a6 still winning, takes, queen d1, and I mean it still looks fantastic. Like queen g4 is coming, this knight I'm not sure what it's doing. c3 takes, knight d6, now knight d4, knight c4 ideas, queen g4, king d5, rook f4, queen c4, queen g2, king a6, queen h3, king d5, king h1, and now Fabi goes queen b1. And guess what happens? So here, I mean, magnificent move could have been played by Magnus, and after bishop g5, rook g8, and suddenly it turns out that white's king is extremely weak. So bishop h4, rook g2, bishop f2, and now there are so many ideas, but b5, and it looks like there is no check, no useful check, so it's just tough to play. So king d7, e4, rook e8, bishop g3, g5, rook g4, rook f8, and as I said, now it might become tough to play. So rook g5 was actually best, rook g5, rook f3, but now you might already sense that, okay, I mean, Magnus is kinda coming. So queen g8, and now apparently rook d5 is best, sacrificing the bishop, and now queen b7. Apparently there is a better line. If rook g3, I guess same queen b7, so you gotta play king c8. And now rook c5 check, and you gotta go back and rook d5, but that is just a wild draw. In the game instead we have queen b3, and after queen f1 it turns out knight e4 is a threat, some rook f2 ideas, and queen a4 walks into b5. So Fabi plays king d5, but after queen g2, king d1, rook f1, he unfortunately loses the game, because now this comes with check, and yeah, absolutely tough. Like, he was completely winning. If you look at the chart of the game, like he was winning from move number 15 all the way till move number 13. So for 15 moves he was winning, and then you know, slight drop. Now it's suddenly equal, again slight drop, and on move 34 final mistake, queen f1, like knight c4 is coming as well. Like, what happens? I have no idea. Like, yeah, basically, look, something random, knight c4. I believe knight c4 is very good, just because, yeah, queen n2, and now let's say king c1, rook f1, king b1, rook f1, all moves rook f1. Like, what happened to Mr. Fabi? Like, how he could lose? I mean, 22 seconds can explain it, and nerves, of course, but yeah, tough loss. And guess what? As I said, Magnus one decisive game, this match one decisive game, and we have the world chess champion, freestyle world chess champion Magnus Carlsen. What is our for him? I mean, I'm not sure if I should record any recaps when Magnus participates, because, you know, the result stays the same. Like, nobody can beat him. I mean, Fabi again came very close, but Man, imagine if he would have won and then it turns around. But yeah, that is what it is. Magnus first again, world champ. It's his 21st world title. I'm not sure when will be next. Be the world chess championship. I mean, we have the match later this year after the candidates, but Magnus is not participating in the candidates, so fortunately we'll have to wait until the end of the year where Rapid and Blitz, and then they're probably 22, 23 or 22 at the very least. So let's see what happens. Exciting days are coming up, and I'll see you in the future videos. And go check out my recaps starting tomorrow. A lot of recaps, guys. Bye bye.